sometimes you can look at a performance and almost forget the bigger picture. And whilst last night wasn't the most convincing performance, it was a 2-2 draw at the end of the day against Genk. On the face of it, not the best night in West Ham's history, but actually it was a very, very significant night, and I'm absolutely buzzing about it, because the bigger picture, and well, the whole picture in its entirety, is that we are only 1 point from securing top of the group. Now, that means we've got 2 games left. We've got to get a draw in our next 2 games. Knowing David Moyes, knowing how he sets the team up, knowing how the team have been playing, come on, we're going to get that point, aren't we? It's funny speaking as a West Ham fan and to speak with such certainty about something, but I really do believe it. I absolutely do. I think we're more than capable of doing that. The significance of winning the group, of course, is we miss the last 32 and go into the last 16. Basically, for winning the group, you get a bye into the next round. Now, I always say that you get used to small change. So, whilst we're travelling on this sort of journey that West Ham are on over the last season and a half or whatever, you sort of get used to the situation you're in. And I guess having topped the group, of course, why wouldn't you get used to the situation? We go away to Genk, we get a draw. But actually, sometimes you've got to cast your mind back to exactly where we were. So it sounds preposterous, actually, that we would be in the last 16 of European competition. I mean, the latter rounds, win that and you're in the quarterfinals. I mean, you can't just say you're sort of 3 games away or anything like that, because obviously you've got to play 2 legs. But it is massive, and it's massively significant. And I think that Moysie was thrown a couple of curveballs yesterday, in as much as I think Yarmolenko probably would have played. I think Vlasic probably would have played, at least one of them, I think it's fair to say. So he probably had to juggle the team around a little bit, play it slightly tactically differently to how he probably intended to in the first place, and certainly use players, I can think Antonio for one, who he wouldn't have, all things being perfect, he wouldn't have used. He would have wrapped him in cotton wool and just saved him for the Liverpool game. But look, the draw against Genk, they were good, weren't they? Genk were good. They were all over us for the first, whatever it was, 15, 20 minutes. Then we did dominate quite large periods of the game. We'll get onto some individual performances in just a second. But I thought it was pretty good. They're the best team we played in Europe. I think Genk are. Genk are the best team. I thought it after the first game, after seeing them last night. I think they're really good. They got some good players, got some quick players. Pansel, Ito, excellent. They really are. They got a manager who's certainly got a good tactical plan. I feel deals at West Ham really well. And you can't play down the significance here of going away from home in Europe and getting a point. Just look at some of how the other teams have struggled in Europe. It's not an easy thing to do. It really isn't. But actually, for us to be undefeated in the group, to go away to what I think is the best team in the group aside from us and get a draw in their home ground, that's pretty impressive, really. And I'm pretty sure that David Moyes' interview was really interesting afterwards, for a number of different reasons. Typical Moysie, wouldn't allow himself to rest on his laurels, wouldn't allow himself to get carried away. The interviewer was pretty good, actually. I really liked the interviewer because it was on BT Sport. I often look at post-match interviews and press conferences and think, why aren't they asking things in the interviews that I would like them to ask? But this wasn't the case. The interviewer actually said to Moysie, when I watch you on the touchline, I can see you getting frustrated with Benrahma. It's almost as if you want him to move the ball more quickly. I think it's a really smart observation, and certainly something that us as West Ham fans see. We see his frustration with Benrahma. But he put it to David Moyes, and he said, obviously, you must be happy with him tonight. I loved what Moyes said. Moyes said, yeah, he said, that's the trouble with people, with creators, people that are goal scorers. You get a bit frustrated with them if they're not doing it. But obviously, they got the ability to pop up and do it. He said, I thought, say, Benrahma played really well. Even if you take out his 2 goals, he played magnificently well. Did he say magnificent? I don't know. But he was brilliant. Benrahma was brilliant, wasn't he? So, you know, let's just get that out of the way. I'm a bit late with the upload because I didn't watch the game live last night. I've had to watch it back. And then myself and Gio have done our player ratings video for Patreon, which we've literally just recorded. And so there's some really interesting marks that Gio's got. I watched the game sort of I didn't watch the game as thoroughly as I might have done on normal occasions, and there's some really interesting marks from a few of the players on there. But I just want to stick to the positives at the moment, particularly in this game, because I'm absolutely buzzing. I think that's the thing, having not watched it last night and just sort of assessing the game the next day, it's the bigger picture. I'm just delighted that I can't believe we got through the group. I cannot believe it. And to get through as winners, which I think we'll do, it's going to be really exciting. I mean, after the new year, to go into the knockout rounds in European competition, knowing that you're not far off a final is amazing. Look, maybe I've got ahead of myself. And I know there'll be a comment saying, don't get carried away. I want to get carried away. I like getting carried away. It's what I do, it's my character. I enjoy it. And I'm really, really buzzing about this West Ham European campaign at the moment. I guess we'll see how detrimental it'll be to our league campaign. We've got some really interesting league fixtures coming up, I get it, but very, very exciting. Oh, by the way, on the Patreon thing, I must say now, we just did the player ratings. Do you remember Jed, the scout, the one that had originally unearthed Saeed Benrahma, did the interview on the main channel with Gio? He's doing a Q&A exclusively for patrons very, very soon. That's coming up imminently. We've just been on and discussed it on Patreon now. I also revealed my latest Zuma and Pringle based mug design, which hopefully will be you'll see soon. Hopefully at least one of you buys it. That would be very nice. And if you do want to get involved on Patreon, I've got to say thank you so much to everybody. Number one, the video I did earlier on in the week, the amount of people that commented on it, lovely comments. I'm absolutely chuffed with them. Thank you very much. And just the amount of people that supported Hammers Chat. Forever, basically, but the number of sign-ups we've had on Patreon this week has been absolutely fantastic, and I just want to thank you very much. If you do want to get involved, we've got 4 different tiers, starting at about £3.50 a month, where you can support Hammers Chat, you unlock extra content, and of course, you get a discount to our shop, which we've got some really nice products coming in the shop. That's patreon.com/Hammers Chat, patreon.com/Hammers Chat. The leak. There's no link. I was going to say the link is below. That would be bad, wouldn't it, if I was doing a video? The link is in the description below. Back on Benrahma, I thought it was the performance. I was delighted to see the performance he needed. He was actually involved in the very start of his first goal, wasn't he? Because I loved the way he sort of turned the player, then played Lanzini in. And then and this is about work rate. This is not just about standing back and admiring your work. Because that little turn, that little spin to play the ball to Lanzini, who was then going to go on and play the ball to Soufal, we'll get onto that in a minute. You can stand back and admire your work. He didn't. He just played the ball and he carried on running. He burst into the box and he was there to finish the goal off. Lanzini's performance, I thought, was really good. I mean, Benrahma was man of the match. Lanzini had a really good game too. And I loved his pass to Soufal. I thought was majestic. Soufal, I thought, squared the ball really nicely. And Benrahma, I thought he finished neatly. Now, I felt that the commentator, having praised the post-match interview, I felt the commentator on BT almost suggested that Benrahma had got it wrong with his finish. I don't think he did. I think Benrahma, I've seen him a number of times now, both on the pitch in terms of a nutmeg and his finishing, does not mind, putting the ball between the player's legs at all for a finish. I absolutely think he meant that. And he was going to go on to prove it with his second goal. Loved the second goal, who wouldn't? I loved the way he sort of nudged it past the player and ran round him. It was the sort of thing that Felipe Anderson used to try and do but wasn't quite able to do. And then to get in there, he then put it through the goalkeeper's legs again. I'd spare a thought for the goalkeeper. I think he's a good young goalkeeper. He's meant to be one of the best young prospects in Europe. But I thought he had a mare against us in the first game. And then I think for someone to finish and score a goal against you through your legs once is bad enough. For it to happen twice from the same player in the same game, he's going to be having nightmares about that. And I wouldn't have put it... He was in such sort of effervescent mood, Benrahma. It wouldn't have surprised me if he'd have got another chance later on in the game if he'd have tried to nutmeg him again. Great performance. Could be really interesting. What I like about him being in this sort of form, it means teams have got to look out for him. So even when we play Liverpool are a great team. Liverpool probably beat us, so they should, right? But we're in with a chance. And the more players you've got in that sort of form, they can't leave Benrahma. I'm not saying they double up on him, but They have to keep their eye on him. And when that creates space for other people. And I noticed this as well more with Declan. Declan's a really good player, but I think now people are aware that not only is he going to shoot, but he may score. So actually people trying to close him down to stop him from shooting, which they weren't really doing before. Again, that creates space for other people. I think it's going to be really, really interesting to watch. Really looking forward to it. On the Benrahma, on the Lanzini issue, I thought Lanzini was really, really good. I made the point when we did our Patreon video this morning about we've got a lot of players that dribble, that carry the ball forward, and I think we're very good at it. I think it's a massive part of our game. I know Benrahma and Bowen are different in terms of their technique and a little bit of the way they play, but they both grab the ball and travel with it. That's what they do. And we've got others like Masuaka will do that. Fornals tries to do it a little bit. Antonio does it. Antonio can be a bit greedy at times, as we've discussed before, but he'll travel with the ball. We don't have too many in the squad who will play that ball that Lanzini played for Soufal. And you've got to have room in your team. I say you've got to have room in your team for a playmaker. Actually, necessarily you don't. I think most of the time we don't have one. But I do wonder if Lanzini's getting to a situation where he might be putting himself up for... am I allowed to say this without upsetting someone? He might be putting himself forward for a place in the team. The way he's playing. The European campaign's been really good for Lanzini and the League Cup. If we hadn't had that, we would have seen a Lanzini that would have had 5 or 10 minutes here or there as a substitute, and maybe not even then. I don't necessarily think he would have been David Moyes' go-to guy, but what's been able to happen is he's been able to play in Europe, he's been able to play in the League Cup, and he's been able to get himself fit. So now the Lanzini that you're seeing is coming on, he's match fit. And it's that lovely balance of playing enough games to be match fit, but not playing too many where you're sort of running the risk of injury. I think he's in contention. I really do. I think he's a hell of a player. At his best, I really do think he's one of the best passers around. His first touch is fantastic. He's all about technique. And I've certainly felt at times in the last few games, whilst we've been doing everything well that we traditionally do well, we have done well under Moyes, there's been occasion where I just wish we'd have retained the ball a little bit better. He's calm under pressure, Lanzini. It's very much a case of him saying, I'm marked, don't worry about it, pass me the ball. No, pass me the ball, it's fine. Not only will I receive it comfortably, but I'll give it to you back as well. I don't mind that I'm marked. Because he's skillful enough to deal with that. Really pleased to see him coming into the sort of form that he was. Also really pleased to see Soufal back. I know he probably should have done better at the end with the square pass, and he'll be disappointed that he didn't finish at least one of those two chances that he had. But let's not forget he did assist Benrahma's first goal, and I thought he just picked him out quite neatly. I know it was all about. That goal was really all about Benrahma and Lanzini, but I don't want to forget Soufal's role in it. And I just feel it's incredibly important to have two players really pushing for a first-team spot. And as good as Fredericks was, or is, I'd say was, it's not like he's gone or anything like that. As good as Fredericks is, you never really felt that no matter how well Fredericks played, that he was going to get the shirt off of Soufal. I don't feel that's the case with Johnson. I feel it's a real gunslinger's battle, isn't it? I mean, any one of them could get that right back. You don't feel that Moyes has a favourite. But I think with Soufal and Fredericks, Moyes had a favourite. Soufal and Johnson, I don't think Moyes is entirely sure. And that creates good competition. That means hopefully the standard of fullbackery is going to be... That's not a player. That's the art of being a fullback. Right, in fact, more precisely, right-backery. You're going to just get a higher performance, and I think it's really good for the team, really healthy. It'd be nice if we could get a left back. Anyway, that's a different video. I digress. Really happy, really pleased with what I saw from Patches. Obviously, there were bits that weren't great, but as I say, the bigger picture, we're through. One more point, and we are in the glory stages of European competition. I think it's absolutely magnificent. Well done, Moysie. Well, 1000th game, by the way. Double well done. He even said, I'm not having a glass of wine yet. I've got Liverpool coming up. I hope he does have a glass. I hope he has a bottle. I hope he gets smashed. So well done, Moysie. Well done, the coaching staff have done well. And well done to players. I know there was a couple of injuries and or whatever. Was it Vlasic had a concussion? So how did he get that? I don't actually know. But he's rotated the squad up to this point. I think he has rotated the squad really well. I don't think he wanted to take Antonio off, by the way, last night. Let me just say that. But I think he just got to whatever it was, 58 minutes. Have I got that right? Might be right, might be wrong. I think he got to that point. But well, it doesn't matter. Regardless of what the result is here, whatever the scoreline is, Mickey's coming off. You know, that's it. I need him. And I just think he's done that consistently well. It's a bloody good day to be a Hammer.